don't love me for my ambition.
In my opinion, Dave Chappelle's the greatest comedian of all time. The greatest comedian of all time. He dropped a brand new special over the weekend. It's called Dreamer. I watched it. I loved it. This was what Noel and Edwin saw live. The same actual, maybe with a bit less, because this was like a 50-minute set that he did for the special. Might have been longer in person. But this was what they reported when they saw him live over the winter last, 2 months ago now at TD Garden. His actual tour. Amazing. This right here, I'm going to play the audio. We can't show the video, but this right here, in my opinion, is a 10 out of 10 joke by Dave Chappelle. Amazing joke. But they're trying to cancel him again. You'll see why by the end of the joke. Let me... Can you hear it all?
No. The thing that got me out of that space was a comedian friend of mine, the late, great Norm Macdonald. That's right. Shout out to Norm. And what Norm did, which I'll never forget, is he knew that I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. Now, I'm not going to go all into it, but Jim Carrey is talented in a way that you can't practice.
Put the speaker up a little bit more.
What a God-given talent. I
love Jim Carrey.
With him.
Same.
And Norm knew that. And he called me up and he goes, Dave, he says, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, fuck, yes, I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. In the movie,
Can we talk about nobody reacting
it's
to
called
that?
Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this.
That's so fucked
And
up.
in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admire,
That's so
the late,
fucked
great
up.
Andy
But
Kaufman.
that was the saddest shit you ever heard.
Bro.
Yes, and Jim
Nigga has a
Carrey
smile
was
since
so
his dad touched
immersed in
the
that role
grave, bro.
That
From
God
the moment he
damn.
woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life. There's Andy Kaufman. I didn't know that. When they said cut, this nigga was still
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. So much so that everybody on the crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and when he walked into the room where we were supposed to meet, I screamed, Jim Carrey! And everyone said, no! Call him Andy. And I didn't understand. And then he came over and he was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman. Just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hello.
Hello.
Andy? Now, in hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed in one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. But as it was happening, I was very disappointed. Because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey, and I had to pretend this nigga was Andy Kaufman all afternoon. And he was clearly Jim Carrey. I could look at him and I could see he was Jim Carrey. Anyway, I say all that to say, that's how trans people make me feel.
Oh, man.
That nigga's hilarious.
Yo, they are currently online trying to cancel Dave Chappelle again for another transgender joke.
Good luck, bro.
Listen, I think the joke is genius because it's captivating you into like a whole nother thing, and then at the end, it's like a callback on like, hey, you canceled me before because of this, but at the same time, he's just using his opinion, his logical opinion, like, oh, you know, I feel this way about transgender people, where like they are another gender, a new version of them, who they believe that they are now, but then he believes, like, for example, the best example will probably be Caitlyn Jenner, right? People still think, you look at him, and especially if you grew up watching the Olympics, you know, the older generations, that's Bruce Jenner, you know, but it's Caitlyn Jenner. Even though I saw recently those new photos, he hasn't done like any content or any, like, he's not even on the show, the Kardashian show, nothing, but he hasn't been like in a public in a while, and he came, and there was like photo, and it looks like he might have, or she, but it might be back, he might be going back to he, because it looks like he got like his breast, or she got her breast like removed, or like, it looks like it's transitioning back
Didn't
to.
she cut the penis off?
I don't think no. That's the controversy with
No,
that
that was
because
a controversy.
Bruce he never wanted to cut his
never cut the
penis off to
penis
become
off.
Caitlyn. He just like I still have a penis. So it was a transgender, but in the sense of like I think he took hormones, but maybe the breast, but it wasn't like the genitals.
I think he was just like real deal into cross dressing. You know.
Yeah,
Listen.
but then he also has a lot of things. He's like the transgender community doesn't really fuck with
Oh yeah, because
with her too much.
Yeah, because
she's very like
she still likes women.
yeah.
She says I'm not gay. It's so dumb. Here's my thing though. I don't really think Dave Chappelle has any issues with transgenders.
100% not.
I don't think this nigga gives a fuck about y'all. I think he's pissed because they try to tell him how to make a joke. And you need to understand that Dave Chappelle, historically, since his inception, has always tried to mock everyone.
Yes.
And I think he took offense to the idea that he somehow had this rage and frustration towards this one group when this nigga has made. Remember the ethnic Olympics or award show, whatever it was. No, the ethnic draft on the Dave Chappelle show where they're drafting different people from different ethnicities, like major famous people.
Yes.
Made fun of white people, made fun of Asians, made fun of black. He had racist Asian looking niggas going up there making jokes about the top Asian and which one they were gonna draft.
Yeah.
Bro, this nigga has historically done this shit. You really think Dave Chappelle sat there and was like, I fucking hate transgender people? Like, nah, bro, come on.
Yeah.
That's why he's pissed.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna keep, and because when I watch the stand up, you can tell it's not that he didn't like them. It's that he's mad that he's being told what to do. And he's mad that he's being labeled as transphobic simply because he's doing what he's always done his whole career.
Yeah. I could see that. I could definitely see that because, like I said, I think that Dave Chappelle's the greatest comedian of all time. Like,
Me too.
stand-up comedian. Like, the way he presents a joke is so organic and natural that it's him just storytelling, but you almost forget that he's doing stand-up comedy. It's like you are like enthralled. When I watch him, I get enthralled, and I'm watching it. I'm like here, and like I feel like I'm in the room with Dave Chappelle. It doesn't feel gimmicky. It doesn't feel like
Punchliner shit.
like punchliney or cheap. It feels very like, okay, I'm watching a master doing a master class right here.
You thought these jokes out.
Yeah, like these are well thought out jokes. Like this is this is amazing, right? And then that's why I saw some people say that they were getting offended because the way he delivers his jokes doesn't come off like a stereotypical joke. It comes off like he is storytelling. It comes off very just like vocal, and they get offended. But guys, he's a comedian. He's Dave Chappelle. He is harmless. He is telling a joke. He's doing his job. There's way more dark comedic jokes than this joke. There's way more. Like, come on. Like, there's some other stuff that's insane out
There's
there.
mad shit out there, bro.
So we gotta calm the fuck down. Like,
There's
that's
people who joke about sexual assault.
yes. Like this is nothing, bro. And if you watch the special, which I recommend everyone to watch because it's only 50 minutes long, he filmed it in Washington D.C., where his first special, I believe, called Dave Chappelle that he did with HBO, that he did with little money. It was just some quick shit. He filmed in the same location again years later now, but it was amazing. Like we spoke about in the past, Noel reviewed his experience at the actual in-person show, but the jokes were amazing.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Because this is something that keeps popping up in my head. And I want to make sure I get this off so
Yeah,
we don't get in trouble here. The argument is that he can't joke about trans people because when you joke about it, especially about the idea of it not being real, you normalize a reality where they can now be brutalized for being transgender. Because it's like, it's no longer me accepting you for who you are. Because Dave Chappelle has made this joke and created this funny standard around the idea of it, when someone who is in fact transphobic sees you as a transgender, they'll be like, you're just choosing to be that way, you sick nigga.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get into the girl's bathroom, but you're really a man. Versus, nah, you're a woman, it's fine, I don't care. You get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So by him making those jokes, he's normalizing this shit. My thing is this. Fair. Make your argument. I've heard the argument a million times. I'm going to take it for what it is. How is that any different from Dave Chappelle making all those jokes he made about black people?
Yeah.
And that's my question to you. would this be okay if it was a trans person making these jokes? Because black people face brutalization, they face police brutality. The black body is the most violently, like it is the skin tone of the body that is viewed as violent, more violent than any other race on the planet. It's black skin. It's okay for Dave Chappelle to make all those jokes I heard in Boston about black people, but it's not okay for him to make jokes about trans. He's somehow not normalizing racism, but he's normalizing transphobia. That's what I want to ask you. Is it the same thing? Are we having, like, is it a double standard that's going on here?
I think it's definitely a double standard, but I think the reason that it happens, the more I think about it, is because these new, like, communities, right? Like, it's a newer thing. We're getting more familiar, our generation, with transgender people, right? We already have started to become more adapted to the gay culture, which has been around for centuries, but publicly being embraced, that's more nuanced. So it's becoming more a part of the normal, where when something is a part of the normal, then it coincides with everything. Meaning, like, any regular joke that happens about, let's say a straight people joke is just a joke. The straight people are not gonna get offended. But then he does jokes about the transgender community, and the transgender community is gonna get offended. When in reality, you know, it's because they're a newer community. Let's say 20 years from now, as it seems, where there's going to be more and more transgender people, it's going to keep on happening, right? If that community keeps getting bigger and doesn't become just solely the minority, even though it's going to still be a minority, I feel like it's going to be normalized where, like, you know, if they want to be a part of society as they should be, you get these jokes too. Yeah. These jokes ain't off limits for you, motherfucker. Just because you want to change your gender, God bless you. People are gonna make fun of you, just like they're gonna make fun of straight people too. It's you're if you want to be considered normal, regular to society, it's normal and regular to be made fun of and be joked at. People just, I feel like, want to pick certain things to be mad at and just are miserable. There's a lot of people who are just fucking miserable and just want to. That's what it really comes down to. But in regular, actual conversations, I've had conversations. I have transgender people in my family. I have plenty of gay friends, gay people in my family. They joke about this type of stuff. Now, there's gonna be some that are gonna be sensitive in real life, just like online. But I really think that it's very hyper, like it's hyper extended, like it's exaggerated online to what it actually is in reality. With Dave Chappelle, there was already people that didn't like him last time. I think we reported on in here when it happened last time. Weren't they like boycotting Netflix? They were outside of Netflix boycotting. Yep. And I think actual Netflix workers were boycotting it. They didn't want to go to work. But the Netflix CEO said no. Like, no.
I think they fired some of them. They're like,
they were like, no, we're going to stand. This is a creator. Like, why would we, just because you work here, we have to give the creators, like, their freedom. They can create what they want to create. Like, we're not going to control speech here. You know, so if the workers wanted to leave, I think some of them just left. I don't think they might not have been fired. I think they just left. I think they just quit. But yeah, I think it's a bit of BS. There's some reality to it where it's like no one is trying to say like you shouldn't be offended. You have your right to be offended. But it's BS when you want to just not like you. So there's all jokes are off limits, because this joke was like it was good ass joke. I think it was a 10 out of 10 joke, but it wasn't like on the offensive scale. Maybe like a 4 or 5. Like, it was like nowhere near where he's taking it to in the past, or where he can take it to, where he can, like, you know, the last one was crazy where like he ended the whole special with the transgender joke about I think the transgender that died. It was crazy. That one was like where like I found it funny, but I was like, I get it. It was like, I felt it while watching it. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get canceled for this. This is crazy. Oh my God. And he did. But then this one, I feel like people are just trying to like ride the coattails of the last shit. But he's doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing. Well, he's riding the coattail of the last shit too. Yeah. So he knows what's gonna come with this. He's not ignorant to it.
My situation with this entire problem is, bro, at the end of the day, he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He's rich as shit, so he doesn't care. And this is a greater conversation. Can you truly have comedy without it being offensive? Without it critiquing something? And I remember there was a video that was trending on Twitter because someone opened up for SNL, some black guy. And a lot of his jokes weren't offending certain communities. Yeah. Like, at all. He was just making, like, quirky jokes. Mm-hmm. I fucking hated it. And, like, the people on Twitter were dick eating it. They were like, this is so amazing. Like, you can actually make jokes and not offend anyone or like attack certain groups. And I'm just like, yo, this is where my spiritual side comes in. God is the greatest comedian of all time. The way he writes stories is so comedic. That's why there's so much irony in everyone's existence. Part of that irony is when you have collective groups, stereotypes generate. And you can mock those stereotypes. So like to try to remove criticism out of comedy is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like that's the point of our existence, is to laugh at each other.
Yeah.
And our generalities and our stereotypes as collective identities and collective groups. I think niggas is just mad, like you said, because they're fucking miserable.
Yeah, I think that's what it really is. I think that's what it really, really is. Because if he was really genuinely offending people, I wouldn't support it. Like anyone that's like just genuinely just has like a disdain for people.
But he's not even like calling for like action of like violence.
Yeah, he's not. It's not what people are trying to make it out to be.
And he's not laughing about transgender people being killed or like seeing violence. It's more like, you think you a man?
Yeah,
You got breast. Like that's his point.
He's just like, it's like tongue in cheek with it. Like he's not trying to like, he's more scientific with it, so it doesn't come off as tongue in cheek. But that's because it's Dave Chappelle, you know. But at the same time, since it's Dave Chappelle, if you are the greatest comedian of all time, you might go down in history as the most criticized comedian of all time as well. Because with love comes hate, just like Drake, the most loved but arguably the most hated. I go around, this older people I talk to, they hate Drake. Like, they don't give a fuck about him. They think he's a bitch, this and that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm talking about the music here, man. But, like, people take it to the level where, like, they hate, like, everything that someone has to do with, you know. But I do recommend people to go watch the special. Amazing special. The way he ends it is amazing, too. I love the jokes. I love the Lil Nas X joke. The concept of being a dreamer and how everyone is just walking around with their own dreams and everyone is just a dreamer. And some people just dream harder more than others. And that's the people that rise above the others and, you know, make their dreams a possibility. Phenomenal, just like soliloquy to like tie to life that is simple, but the way he did it in the special was beautiful. The guy is... one of my favorite people in the world. I would love to meet him one day. Like it's insane the things that he's capable of doing on that stage. To me, like I said, it's like I love a Chris Rock, right? I love a Cat Williams, you know. I love a Kevin Hart, especially older Kevin Hart. Dave Chappelle, man.
No, he's different. It's
a different animal.
It's very intellectual.
And I feel like people know it, but then, unfortunately, it's going to take for him to pass away. When he passes away, that's when people are going to be like, fuck. Like, there's a hole.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Dave Chappelle's different, man.
They gon' love me for my ambition.